in the original determinate, and subject to this substantial sameness of basic substance and nature, a profuse variation in the generic and individual determinates. An identical law obtains of sameness or similarity in the genus or species with numerous variations, often meticulously minute in the individual. But we do not find anything in any general or generic determinate necessitating the variant determinations that result from it. A necessity of immutable sameness at the base, of free and unaccountable variations on the surface, seems to be the law. But who or what necessitates or determines? What is the rationale of the determination? What is its original truth or its significance? What compels or impels this exuberant play of varying possibilities which seem to have no aim or meaning unless it be the beauty or delight of creation? A mind, a seeking and curious inventive thought, a hidden determining will might be there, but there is no trace of it in the first and fundamental appearance of material nature. This is the description of the whole scientific account today of the whole world. And this question as to why, how, intrinsic why, this question today is said to be irrelevant. Science consists now only of describing that this is what has happened, this is happening. And that is the end of it. Science means is inquiry into what is happening and nothing more than that. The question is whether we should remain stuck to this conclusion. Can science do anything more than this? Is it simply a description? Now, some scientists take a view that that is the correct thing to do. The world is what it is, things are happening, something will go on happening, you just allow it to happen. This world is a world of chance. By chance something has happened. By chance certain things are happening, like a magician, Aurobindo says. Like a magician, many things are being manifested unaccountably, and you want to ask the question, what is the account of it, itself is irrelevant, because things will happen by chance. Now, Sri Aurobindo develops this theory of chance to its utmost extreme. In fact, this theory of chance is extremely important today. If everything is by chance, then the whole Indian science of yoga is a futility. Because yoga implies that there is a method by which the present state of consciousness can be changed into another state of consciousness. And that new consciousness will be full of meaning and full of ultimate satisfaction. And that by your conscious will, you will be able to produce what is willed. This is the fundamental point of yoga, that what is at present given to you can be transmuted by a conscious application of methods, that by process of concentration you can transmute your human mind into a higher consciousness. That the mind can be, which is constantly a movement of ripples and vibrations, can be silenced. If everything is by chance, it may happen, it may not happen. What is this application of any method? The whole theory of yoga is a theory according to which, by conscious application, meaningful application of cause and effect, you can produce a result, and a time can come when you can will and produce effects. In India, of course, yoga is not a great mystery, because in India yoga has been profusely practiced as distinguished from what has happened in the West. There also yoga has been practiced, but not as profusely as in India. Therefore, in India it is quite acceptable, because we have experienced yogis applying certain mantras and producing certain effects, putting a certain will and producing a result. In fact, right from the Vedic times, sacrifice was consciously devised, yajna, as a method, that if you want a certain result, you do such and such a yajna, such and such a result can be produced. And although it became a ritualistic movement in due course of time, originally it was not ritualistic. It was a conscious application. It was discovered that this world can be consciously combined and you can produce results which are willed. So, world is not a world of chance. But the modern science has come to a point where, unable to explain things, it has taken recourse to the theory of chance. And what is this theory of chance? To what extent it can lead? Now, in the next paragraph that we are reading, Sri Aurobindo has described the theory of chance, although in brief but in detail. And it is very important to study that theory of chance so that we can come to a final point in regard to that idea and that line of thought. So we go back to that paragraph. A first possible explanation. I don't know if you got it. A first possible explanation points to a self-organizing dynamic chance that is at work. You see this word which Sri Aurobindo's coins, self-organizing dynamic chance. A paradox, a chance itself which is self-organizing, because if there is chance there is no organization. But you are obliged to say that because the world is an organization whether you like it or not. You can say the world is by chance it has been organized. It need not have been organized. But the fact is that there is an organization. So the scientists are agreed that there is organization, but there is a self-organizing chance. So a paradox necessitated by the appearance of inevitable order on one side, of unaccountable freak and fantasy on the other side, of the cosmic phenomenon we call nature. An inconscient and inconsequent force, we may say, that acts at random and creates this or that by a general chance without any determining principle. Determinations coming in only as a result of a persistent repetition of the same rhythm of action and succeeding because only this repetitive rhythm could succeed in keeping things in being. This is the energy of nature. Now Aurobindo argues, but this implies that somewhere in the origin of things there is a boundless possibility or a womb of innumerable possibilities that are manifested out of it by the original energy. An incalculable inconscient which you find some embarrassment in calling either an existence or a non-existence. For without some such origin and basis, the appearance and the action of the energy is unintelligible. Yet, an opposite aspect of the nature of the cosmic phenomenon as we see it appears to forbid the theory of a random action generating a persistent order. There is too much of an iron insistence on order, on a law basing the possibilities. One would be justified rather in supposing that there is an inherent imperative truth of things unseen by us, but a truth capable of manifold manifestation, throwing out a multitude of possibilities and variants of itself with the creative energy by its action turns into so many realized actualities. This brings us to a second explanation. A mechanical necessity in things, its workings recognizable by us as so many mechanical laws of nature. The necessity, we might say, of some such secret inherent truth of things, as we have supposed, governing automatically the processes we observe in action in the universe. But a theory of mechanical necessity by itself does not elucidate the free play of the endless unaccountable variations which are visible in the evolution. There must be behind the necessity or in it a law of unity associated with a coexistent but dependent law of multiplicity, both insisting on manifestation. But the unity of what? The multiplicity of what? Mechanical necessity can give no answer. Again, the emergence of consciousness out of the inconscient is a stumbling block in the way of this theory. For it is a phenomenon which can have no place in an all-pervading truth of inconscient mechanical necessity. If there is a necessity which compels the emergence, it can be only this, that there is already a consciousness concealed in the inconscient, waiting for evolution, and where all is ready, breaking out from its prison of apparent nescience. We may indeed get rid of the difficulty of the imperative order of things by supposing that it does not exist. that determinism in nature is imposed on it by our thoughts, which needs such an imperative order to enable it to deal with its surroundings. But in reality, there is no such thing. There is only a force experimenting in a random action of infinitesimals, which build up in their general results different determinations by a repetitive persistence operative in the sum of their action. Thus we go back from necessity to chance as the basis of our existence. But what then is the mind? This consciousness, which differs so radically from the energy that produced it, that for its action it has to impose its idea and need of order on the world she has made and in which it is obliged to live. There would then be a double contradiction of consciousness emerging from the fundamental inconscience and of a mind of order and reason manifesting as a brilliant and final consequence of a world created by inconscient chance. These things may be possible, but they need a better explanation than any yet given before we can accord to them our acceptance. So you might say the chance theory may be a right theory. Asat Karyavada may be a right theory. It's quite possible